This is the Gaming and Discussion channel, and today I will be breaking down the D23 Special Look at Rise of Skywalker. We start from the beginning, in terms of the release order of the Star Wars films anyway. So of course we start with Luke on Tatooine. And of course we continue with the original trilogy, which is apt. I suppose it could apply to the original trilogy characters as well, but there's certain characters who do appear in this video, and it is possible that these characters were intentionally included as they may appear in Episode 9. It's possible, but at the same time, it might just be a mixture of including notable characters from each film, as well as maybe having that in mind as well. Who knows? But it could just be the former.
1,000 generations live in you now.
Or perhaps they'll just be important characters in the film, all of these that are showing up at the moment.
But this is your fight.
Okay, so this is the first new shot we get, which is from Episode 9. So they're on that desert planet again. We've got Rey, we've got Finn, we've got Poe, we've got Chewbacca, we've got C-3PO. There seems to be a ship in the background on the right. I think that's the Millennium Falcon. And then apart from that, you can just see the terrain. And there's not much else to see there, apart from, I guess, the costumes that the characters are wearing. Rey seems to be wearing possibly what she was wearing in Episode 7. Anakin's lightsaber, or Anakin/Luke/Rey. Or let's just say Anakin's lightsaber, does appear to look a bit different, which would make sense because of The Last Jedi. C-3PO appears to look the same. I can't really see Chewbacca from here. Rey's costume seems to be pretty similar to what she was wearing in Episode 7. And she's got the staff again. And then Poe and Finn are wearing different costumes. I suppose Poe's costume is a bit Indiana Jones-like. I guess you could compare Finn's to Han Solo's, especially with those blue trousers and the holster. And then we've got this shot, where there seems to be a massive event happening, maybe some sort of carnival. Then you've got a shot of Leia here, which actually I do think it might be a shot of her from The Force Awakens, and it looks like she's wearing a costume from that as well. But it looks like that perhaps they've replaced the background and used a new one for a new planet for Episode 9. This might be the planet where in a later shot in this special look, Rey's throwing a lightsaber. It could be that planet. But it looks like this is a shot from The Force Awakens, I believe. Or it looks like one anyway. It looks like that shot where she's on the car. And then we've got this planet. I don't know what this planet is, but we've got maybe supposedly the Resistance. I'm just wondering whether those X-Wings actually are Resistance X-Wings or not, because in a way they do look like the X-Wings from Episode 4, I suppose, from the original trilogy, but who knows. We've got some other ships as well. We've got a Y-Wing. There might be an A-Wing in there. I believe that's a Corellian space shuttle. We've got another ship there which I don't exactly recognise, I don't think. But anyway, that ship that I was on about, that shuttle, I think that's the same model, I believe, as the Tantive 4 from Rogue One and A New Hope. And then we've also got this shot here, which is apt because I suppose the lighting seems to be darker and you can see lightning. And of course these are Star Destroyers, and I believe these are meant to be Star Destroyers from, well, that belong to Palpatine. I suppose the environment that these Star Destroyers are in and the background seems to be significantly darker than the Resistance ships that we see appear in the previous shot. And there we go, we've got loads of Star Destroyers here. I bet at the end of the film there's going to be a massive final battle, or maybe just a massive space battle as well as other significant battles that will happen. And then we've got just a shot of Finn and that new character. I can't remember her name either. I'm going to have to look up her name as well. It looks like we've got a Resistance pilot, or it looks... or he seems to be almost dressed from here in a similar way to the X-Wing pilots from the original trilogy. Anyway, they're in one of the ships. And then we've got C-3PO here. He could either be evil because he's got the red eyes, or perhaps he's being captured again like in episode 5 and he's been reprogrammed perhaps. Maybe he will play a significant role in the film. Maybe he'll be used as a tool against the heroes. Who knows? Just wondering where he could be. In a way, it almost looks similar to Jabba's palace, where those droids were being tortured, I suppose, but I imagine it's not the same. It would be interesting if Jabba's palace does appear again in the film, but I'd say it's unlikely. Okay, and then we've got this shot where there's a laser firing on this planet. I don't know what planet this could be. Maybe a new planet. And that red laser, what could it be coming from? Could it be from a Star Destroyer? Another super weapon? Another planet killer? Because it's possible that we could be following the route of the original trilogy, because in The Force Awakens there's Starkiller Base, which is a super weapon, a planet killer. And of course that's the first film of the sequel trilogy, and it did use plot elements from A New Hope. For example, Starkiller Base being the planet killer, the super weapon that they need to destroy, whereas the Death Star was that in A New Hope. And then in episode 8, like in Empire, there wasn't a super weapon or, a planet killer in those films. And then, of course, we come to episode 9, and episode 6 is Death Star 2, so who knows whether there's another super weapon that the First Order or the Empire has built again, which will appear in this film. The blast almost seems to intensify there. And then we've got Rey here on the planet I believe that Leia can be seen on. And then she's thrown a lightsaber here into a tree, and then it looks like there's a training remote there. She's got some sort of ribbon or something on there. Maybe it'll be useful when she's training with her lightsaber. And then we move to Kylo Ren. This might be the same planet that the Star Destroyers are on actually, because the lighting seems to be similar or the same. You have those dark clouds. You've got his starfighter there. It must be that planet because we just saw a lightning bolt again. Of course, he's igniting his lightsaber. And of course, you could just hear Palpatine saying your journey. I suppose like in The Force Awakens where he wasn't doing it intentionally, let's say, but when Rey was beating him, she managed to push his lightsaber into the ground, into the snow, and of course he's actually dragging his lightsaber along the ground himself. I believe this might be on Endor. The Death Star 2 exploded above the planet, and as a result it is entirely plausible that debris from the Death Star, from the second Death Star, fell onto the planet. It looks like you can see debris in the distance as well. We can see Kylo and Rey dueling each other on the Death Star. There is a turret there on the left, so it is possible that this could be the trench from A New Hope. I say from A New Hope, but of course that was the first Death Star. It's entirely possible that Death Star 2 could have had a trench as well. But of course there wasn't a trench run in that episode, but there was in episode 4. They're battling above water. There's waves crashing down. It's reminiscent of Obi-Wan and Anakin's duel on Mustafar in episode 3, but of course they were fighting on a volcanic planet where lava was crashing everywhere. It's possible that everything you can see in the background here behind the water is just debris from the Death Star, or most of it. Where I've paused as well, there's sparks flying off of the lightsabers, which I quite like. Okay. Palpatine finishes what he's saying, so he said, your journey nears its end. So he could be talking to a number of different characters, really. I mean, he could be talking to Rey. See, I say Kylo, but I don't know whether he's really talking to Kylo, to be honest. I think he could be talking to Rey. There is a theory that she's a clone, so it is possible, or there could be something along those lines. So maybe he's talking to her, maybe she's been a puppet of him, or perhaps, yes, she'll be possessed by him, and that's why he's saying that. He could be talking to another character, but we'll see. You can hear a number of different sound effects here as well. Because you can hear Vader's breathing there. Just wondering what that sound effect is there. If I just speed that up. That sounds like lightning there, so that could just be perhaps lightning from that planet, or the Emperor's lightning perhaps somehow. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, yeah. And of course we've got Rey here, Darkside Rey. She has two blades here, which seem to be similar to Kylo Ren's blades, so there could be an unstable crystal in the lightsaber. This could just be a vision. This is a spoiler, or a potential spoiler, let's say, if this actually happens in the film. But I believe it was revealed that, and I believe this might have been a mistake by Disney and or Lucasfilm, where on an article breaking down this video, it was revealed that this was a vision. So this could just be a vision that she has, like Luke had in episode 5. Luke fought Vader, but under the mask, inside the helmet was Luke's face, because that was what he could become. And of course he decided to duel the vision, which was failure on his part, and yeah, it wasn't the right thing to do, but he learned a lesson from that. Somewhere here, she's in a dark room. It could just be another cave, who knows. Could be Dagobah. She could have to go to Dagobah like Luke did in episode 5 and 6. It almost looks like here she's looking at a mirror of herself, and she does seem to be wearing a ring on her index finger on her right hand. I believe that's meant to be the obsidian ring that is linked to Snoke somehow. See, if you look on the far right of this shot here, this is something I noticed early on. It looks like there is actually someone moving. And it does look like this is a mirror of some sort. It does look like there's glass there where you can see dark Rey. Rey could be looking at herself and she could be evil, but you can see that reflected in the mirror, who knows. But it looks like Rey was moving, unless Rey could just be looking at herself. It might not even be a mirror. I have heard about more reshoots being done, if this info is true. This might not be a vision at all now, if the reshoots are linked to this. Dark Rey might not end up being a vision, who knows. We'll find out when the film comes out. And then of course the lightsaber is different, because it appears there's some sort of wire or some sort of linking mechanism in between the two hilts. Allows it to bend. So there's the blade in its saber staff style, in its double-bladed style, in its double-bladed form. It almost appears as if she looks more gaunt here and perhaps even skinnier than she usually does. I guess that's probably thanks to the costume as well, and maybe her makeup. You can just hear a hint of, I believe, Rey's theme from The Force Awakens there. I mean, in terms of analysing the music, I think this is Yoda's theme, you know, or at least a rendition of it. A modern rendition in a way, just a different rendition by John Williams from episode 5 on Dagobah.
We've passed on all we know. A 1,000 generations live in you now. But this is your fight.
I believe when Luke does say those lines of dialogue, he is talking to Rey. 1,000 generations have passed through you now. I guess it's possible that he's referring to the fact that there have been thousands of generations of Jedi, or maybe he's just referring to the Skywalker lineage, but we only know the Skywalker lineage from as far back as Shmi, who first appeared in episode 1, but perhaps Palpatine has something to do with the Skywalker lineage? It seems likely, but we'll have to find out. Switches to music, which I think is, I'm not sure that's meant to have hints of Rey's theme in it, or it's meant to be a soundtrack, I think, from probably episode 7, I think. I can't remember exactly what soundtrack it is. Maybe it is a rendition of Rey's theme again. I don't know whether that's just a bit of debris. It does appear actually as if the ground on the right is a bit cracked. Maybe there's some more debris there. Actually, it is possible that that laser we saw earlier on is firing on this planet. If the laser fired on this planet, then that would make sense, but also because of the weather and the lightning.